Second speaker is an experienced speaker, Kaaren Henderson. She is speaking from the Storytelling Manual, Project 3, The Moral of the Story. Timer note, that is 6 to 8 minutes. The purpose is to tell a news story that offers a lesson or moral. Karen's speech is titled, "That Girl Was Winging It." According to Webster's, winging it is to do or try to do something without much practice or preparation. Here with "That Girl Was Winging It," Kaaren Henderson. Take it away from.
Being prepared can make the difference between life and death. In her short-lived career, Amelia Earhart often winged it unprepared and never stopped winging it until her fatal crash and her untimely death. Did you know that Amelia Earhart's first fatal crash somewhere over the South Pacific in 1937 was not her first crash? Her needless demise was completely predictable, even when she was a child. At the age of 7, Amelia convinced her family to help her build a ramp that resembled her favorite roller coaster. They attached the ramp to the top of the family tool shed. Adventure beckoned. Amelia grabbed a wooden box for her sled and off she flew. After she crashed and jumped out of that broken wooden box, she had a bruised lip, a torn dress, and a sense of exhilaration. "Mommy, I just love flying." Amelia's heart was pounding. She knew she had to do it again. But it took 15 years before her father reintroduced her to the thrill of flying when she was 23 years old. He gifted her with an airplane ride. It changed her life forever. Back in the early 1900s, flying was really dangerous. The runways were all grass fields. In fact, it was dangerous enough to scare anybody, but not Amelia. She signed up for lessons on the spot. After she started, it was clear that she was no natural. She crashed into hedges, flipped over, careened off runways, and even forgot to fill her gas tank. Frustrated, her instructor said, "Go find another teacher." Amelia's reckless attitude pushed her to such limits that she flew 14,000 feet high, higher than any woman ever, thus winning her first award. The publicist who discovered her realized that she looked so much like Charles Lindbergh, the famous aviator, that she could have easily been his sister. Being a lookalike to Lindbergh propelled her early success. In 1932, she flew across the Atlantic Ocean as the first woman. Unfortunately, she really didn't bother to master learning instrument flying. Getting lost in a storm, she flew 200 miles off course and landed very far from where all the reporters were. Her publicist, being very quick thinking, quickly restaged the landing and convinced the press it was the real thing. He was very clever at covering up for Amelia's mistakes, she became famous almost overnight. Too bad that her flying prowess didn't improve and grow with her fame. She was still flying by the seat of her pants, crashing into bushes, damaging her propellers, careening. She was something else, and even ran into 2 cars. One could say that she was winging it like nobody's business. Well, the thrill of competition kept beckoning her. She decided that she wanted to be the first person to circumnavigate the globe by flying around the equator. Preparation was still not in her playbook. Instead of learning radio navigation, she hired Fred Noonan, an alcoholic navigator, to be her one and only crew. Neither he nor Amelia knew Morse code, which was the standard way that pilots communicated with one another at that time. Amelia also decided to get rid of all their emergency gear. That included flares, smoke bombs, tools, spare parts. They needed the room to have enough fuel. In order to complete their journey, they had to fly 2,500 miles over the Pacific Ocean. Well, it was a long journey, and they were landing on tiny Howland Island. Just how tiny was it? It was 1 mile wide and 2 miles long. If there had been a little bit of cloud cover, they were going to miss that island, because spotting it would have been like spotting a dime on a soccer field from 1,000 feet up, flying 180 miles per hour. And this stop was critical. When Amelia was supposed to be arriving at Howland Island, the islanders tried to reach her with Morse code. Unable to get a hold of her, they went to a caveman strategy, smoke signals. Unfortunately, instead of the smoke signals rising, they flattened out and hovered over the island, completely obscuring it. The rest is history. Amelia disappeared without a trace. If only she'd followed the classic motto, be prepared, she might have made it to her 40th birthday. In the course of Amelia's brief life, she was a famous, record-breaking female aviator. Her fame helped the general public become more accepting of aviation, and she paved the way for other women. Today, people still search for her remains. There's thousands of theories about what led to her disappearance, but now you know the truth. She winged it, unprepared, on the way to her disastrous dance with gravity. Madam Toastmaster.